Hello. We're just waiting for people to join in. So whilst we're waiting, um, my name is Alex. I'm from the Seven Figure Traveller, and I'm based in the southwest of England, in a place called Bideford. Perhaps you'd like to let me know in the chat where you're from. Now, during the webinar, if you wish to ask any questions, by all means, put them in the chat as we go. But I am, hello, Emma. Hello from London. Yes, so I should be prompting for questions towards the end, and you'll find at the bottom of your controls, there's a Q&A section. So please leave any questions you have there. Welcome, Dalton from India. It's a small world, isn't it? I think it's absolutely fantastic that we can connect as easily as this over the internet. So there's still a minute or so before the hour, so we'll just stay here a moment, and we'll shortly get going. Alrighty, so welcome again to the webinar. I shall introduce myself shortly, so I shall share the screen and we'll get started. Okay, so welcome again, and just to make sure you're in the right place, today I'm talking about travel consultancy, specifically how you can get an income. And at the end, you'll have an opportunity to learn more about the academy I run and working with me. Some of my aims for today is to give you as much advice and guidance and information that I can. As I say, to give you an introduction to the academy. And there are no questions off limit. Joan, if you're having trouble with the sound, let's just double check, shall we, for a moment? I don't think there's any restriction on the sound. You probably just need to check your local settings. Okay, so let's just put the chat on so I can see any comments. All right, so there are no questions that are off limits, so please do let me know as we go. If they're relevant to the question on the screen, I will answer it, or I will take it towards the end. So it'd be great to find out what brought you here today, just so that I have an idea of why you're here, and it may alter the slant of my webinar as I go along. So please do let me know, and I'll do my best to keep an eye on the chat as we go through. Now, one thing that I've seen is that there are reasons why people travel with, they struggle with travel consultancies. And one is going for trip-only customers, using only a few set of tools, assuming that technology is going to do everything for you, wondering how much of the travel market you need to know, because it's one of those things that changes all the time, and trying to be the master of all. So which one of these resonates with you the most? Give me a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. it'd be good to know whether this is something you experience. Now, the good thing is I'm going to be covering all 5 of these, and I'm going to be splitting them, and I see I'm getting a few 5s. I'm going to be splitting them into 3 sections, and I've split it into what I call strategy, how to optimize, and what a journey might look like for a travel consultant. So, who am I? Well, I'm the founder and visionary of the Seven Figure Traveller, and my commitment is to ensure that your travel passion becomes a thriving venture. And I've spent years learning and gaining experience. And my goal is to give you some practical knowledge and strategies. So whether you're starting out or you're striving for existing travel consultancy success. And over the 6 decades I've been traveling, it's been a privilege to explore our world. It's both extensive and diverse. It offers some challenges, but it's also full of hidden gems. The most important thing I've discovered is that you can still turn what you know into a profitable venture. And with my wealth of real-world experience and business insight, I can offer you practical advice so that you can build a sustainable business. Now, at first glance, a background in IT and sport may seem unrelated, but it's given me a unique perspective around travel and an understanding of the importance of effective planning and using the right technology. You see, every detail matters, and I'm going to show you how you can leverage these skills. And over the decades I've been traveling, I've been honing what works and what doesn't. And one of the things I've realized is that the voice of the traveler is often unheard. Therefore, my mission is to change and amplify your unique voice and experience so that together we can bring the best version of you, whether you're seeking personal fulfillment or are building a travel consultancy to be proud of. How does that sound? Give me a yes in the chat if that's something you'd like. So why is now the perfect time to be looking at this? Well, there's been a pandemic and a few lockdowns. And what I've seen happening is a pent-up desire. It's a bit like an old-fashioned kettle, which when left on the hot plate would whistle intensely for attention if left unattended. And it's because this desire is so strong, this is why it's such a great time to be monetizing in the travel space. And not to take action is kind of like missing out. Now, sure, you can wait, but when's it going to be like this again? It's like the story of the tree. When was the best time to plant the tree? It was 20 years ago. When's the next time? Now. But perhaps you're not thinking about that at all. Perhaps you just want to know how much you can make running a travel business. Well, it depends on how much effort you're willing to put in, how much time, whether you're willing to invest in yourself. Because in the 6 to 9 months, you can earn additional good money out of this. Now, there are travel opportunities all around, but isn't it a competitive market? Well, if all you had to do was to become, to differentiate, to stand out, wouldn't that be a good reason? But isn't there a lot of economic uncertainty? Well, if you could create a stable income that provided financial security, wouldn't that be a good reason? See, right now, a number of travelers are feeling underserved because during the the lockdowns, businesses had this thing thrown upon them called furloughing. At least that's what it was called in the UK. And as a result, businesses became effectively invisible. And instead of returning to the old ways, a lot of businesses, not just in the travel space, remained, relying on the technology that they were forced to use and become somehow disconnected in a lot of cases to their clients. Now, in the picture of Heathrow Airport, planes are full of technology, aren't they? But they still have pilots. There's still staff helping people on board. You still need people to load and offload food and luggage and refuel aircraft. But when it comes to the supporting travelers, it doesn't seem to be a level playing field at the moment. And this is why it's such a great opportunity to be in the travel consultancy space. I hope that makes sense. If it does, please give me a yes in the comments. So let's jump into the first part, talking about strategy. Now, unfortunately, there are areas in which people have expressed to me that they're unclear on, and that's having a well-defined structure, how to navigate complex roadmaps, how you can have a strong support system that will help you guide yourself along the way. Because without any of these things, it can be a bit like being cast adrift, unsure how to build a travel consultancy. So let's look a little deeper. So what do we mean by structure? Well, it means having clear goals and objectives, the what and the why. It means making choices about your target market. Because if you miss any of these things out, it's effectively missing out on your unique value and your growth opportunity. And without it, you can have feelings of overwhelm, wondering where to begin and how to grow. Now, an ideal support structure isn't the only consideration here, because as your business progresses, you may well need to think about people to help you and wondering where they're coming from. Now, it doesn't mean you have to jump into amazing detail here, but it is about not leaving things to chance. And when we were working with John, he had no idea where to begin. He knew he loved travel, but he was unsure how to turn his passion into a true direction. And as a result, he was struggling asking his prospective clients the right questions. And when we worked together, we worked on framing these questions, which I call asking and listening. Now, essentially, it's building relationships through conversations. And if you ever struggle with this, I always think of the 3 W's and the H, the what, the when, the where, and the how. So let's have a look at a few examples. If you were organizing a tennis group holiday, but they loved the resorts, but not the taxi rides, you might ask them what resorts they want to. But if you want to tease out the taxi issue, you also need to be asking about the additional facilities at the resorts. If you've got clients who love islands but are not great on small planes, you might ask them when they want to go. But if you want to ensure that they have a smooth ride, you also need to be asking about the aspects of travel they prefer to avoid. Now, it's not unusual for clients to have favorite brands, so you might ask what chains they like. However, if you want to enhance people's experiences, you need to be asking about the optional extras, perhaps the special occasions. So I hope that makes sense, because journeys are made up of a multitude of things, and when it's done well, some people refer to it as being predictive service. But I think the real magic is asking the right questions. And this is what John is now feeling a lot more confident on. So I hope that makes sense. Give me a cue for questions in the chat if it does. So we've talked about the importance of relationships, but roadmaps is more than that. It's about identifying the niche that you wish to operate in, your target market, planning, marketing, finance, compliance. It's a system to avoid potholes. You don't like driving over them, so why should we accept them anywhere else? And it's about not missing out the steps because they're all needed to be successful. And not having lots of steps is a bit like having a jigsaw with some of the pieces missing. You know, you can end up not seeing the whole picture, or in the worst case scenario, the whole picture could fall apart. So it's knowing about all the right steps and going into all the elements of the roadmap and going deeper when you need to. Now, a couple of things I get told is that there's too much information and noise out on the internet. And of course, this can affect confidence. And one way this can be mitigated is by focusing on the area of travel that you love, following lots of steps and focusing on the outcome. There are also things that can be unseen for the people that get sent on journeys. I know a few years ago, I was lucky enough to go in on a trip to a desert in Australia. And one of the things you can appreciate is both its beauty and its isolation. But you don't necessarily know what it took to put on such journeys. Now, it's not about scaring the punters, but it is about being mindful of what services are being provided. I know when I, had finished admiring, looking at the red dusty road and disappearing into the shimmering distance, I turned around and looked at the coach, and there was this huge pipe coming out, and there was an aerial and a satellite dish, and there was enough food and water for 50 people, for them to survive for days on end. So, it is important being mindful of what it takes to provide, but it's not the only thing that's important, because we can be so busy looking after people that we forget to look after ourselves, because we are just as important, and you deserve a roadmap as well. And this was the case when we were working with Joyce. She just started a second travel shop, and what she was finding was happening was that she was so fixated on the running of the second shop that she was micromanaging her employees and was wondering why it was difficult to keep any of them. So when we worked together, we worked on a thing called trust and process, which essentially letting go of the reins a little and allowing your staff to gain their own perspective of the business. Because if you are willing to trust someone enough to employ them, you should be willing to let them find a broader aspect, because what it does for them and for you as the business owner is to give you totally new experiences along with perspective. Another example of this was a pilot I know who's based in the state of Victoria in Australia. He was approached by a flying colleague who said that he discovered an airport in the north of the state which had a great coffee shop, and they thought this was a marvelous idea. So they organized a group of friends and a number of aeroplanes, and off they went. They organized and filed their plans, but when they got there, the coffee shop was closed. Now you can't make up these things. they were so fixated on planning, which after all you expect pilots to be good at, that no one thought to check whether the coffee shop was open. So there they were on this remote tarmac in the north of Victoria, and someone turned around and said, "Oh, isn't that the highest peak in Victoria? It's only 6,000 feet. Why don't we go up and take a look?" So they did, and they had a really great experience. No, and they wouldn't have had this experience if the coffee shop had been open. You know, it's about being open to new experiences. Now, you know, you expect pilots to be, you know, willing to accept new experiences, but it's just as relevant for travel shop and travel owners as it is for pilots. So now that we've looked at the importance of structure and a well-defined roadmap, it's time for the vital pillar of support. And support can be both exciting and challenging, but it does need to be the right support. Now, support should be more than just getting unstuck. It's about plugging into a network of people that can help you navigate uncharted waters, to provide you mentorship and guidance. Because without it, you can face gaps in your knowledge, challenges, and missed opportunities. Now, it's worth remembering that throughout any support journey, it's not meant to be solitary. It's there to provide you with assistance in ways that it can help you grow and navigate and not miss opportunities. So next, we're going to go deeper and a bit more specific about how you can transform your business ambitions. And when I worked with Jason, he was telling me about travelers that were feeling unlistened to. And this kind of harks back to lockdowns again, when businesses were forced to adjust and they retreated online. So I work with Jason on what I simply call the power of listening, which essentially is being willing to ask a question and shut up, because clients tend to be smart individuals, but they're also a great source of information. They also, these days, are very capable of organizing their own travel. But one thing that's in our favor is that a lot of people are now time poor individuals and will appreciate being helped. Now, there are also people that simply don't know how to put travel plans together. And there's also bunches of people who lack confidence. But mostly the thing that we can provide for customers, potential customers, is to give them time back. And that's, you know, an important element. Now, I hope that makes sense. Please give me a T for time if it does. So let's summarize this section by talking, again, a few points around strategy. So visibility is a lot more important than people give it credit for, because people are looking for a connection with the people that they're buying from. And because the way we express ourselves is so unique, when it's done right, customers really lap this sort of thing up. Now, at the end of this session, I'm going to be offering an opportunity to have a chat to me. And it's being about open to change, about talking through a process, about how you can work with me and get answers to any questions you have. It's about being willing to stop everything else and commit to one thing and trust the process. Now, here's a question for you. Are you achieving all the travel outcomes that you want to? If not, you need to book a call. And today I'm offering 10 slots where you can do just that. And if you want to take advantage of any of them, you just need to either follow the web URL or hover your phone over the large QR code. So let's carry on and drop it into part 2 about how you might optimize. And I split it into adjusting and refining. So what do we mean by adjusting? Well, it's achieving your optimal potential, or put it another way, it's to strategically adjust. And one area that I'm finding that's ineffective is what I call personal visibility. The consequences of not being visible is not being able to engage prospective customers, to establish trust or authority. It's missing a chance, therefore, to create your brand. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, well, it's a crowded market, maybe you need to be a bit more specific. Instead, why not consider specificity and visibility? They're a bit like keys. When you have them and use them, it's like a passport to another world. Now, I used to think that window shopping was a made-up thing, and I determined to go and see whether it actually happens or not. So I went to a local high street of mine, and I found a shop which had products and services I was reasonably interested in. I went in, I respectfully joined a queue and turned around. And pretty soon, people were looking through the window. Now, there's a psychology to this, because if people are willing to put their noses up against a window, they've already made a kind of silent decision about the product or service on offer. Now they want to know is if they like the people inside before they, they're going to go ahead and buy. So visibility can be said to be many things, but the most important element is the one at the bottom, which is getting potential customers to make decisions. Now, nobody likes to be surrounded by people who can't make their mind up. So particularly in a physical shop environment, you have to be okay with people walking past. It's part of the process of getting people to make a decision. So these are really important, and how this gets replicated online is important. So let's next look at content, because this also has an influence. Now, clearly, you don't want to be vague or confusing, but also we need to bust a few myths here. We don't want to be the same as everyone else or match everyone else. And again, when you think about how content can be structured, it can again be a number of elements, right? And you'll not be surprised to know that it's also, its intent is to get people to make decisions. And when I helped a lady called Chloe, she was planning trips for her customers who went to the lovely West Country city of Bristol, a city of hills and a famous bridge by Isambard Kingdom Brunel. But the problems didn't begin for Chloe's clients until the return trip, which was basically very chaotic. Her clients traveled by train, and the train tracks were invaded by people. Once this problem had been cleared, when the train arrived at the city of Exeter, the train they were on broke down. Every attempt by local station staff to find alternative trains, they also break down. So when I was working with Claire, I was talking about how you adjust and prepare for these situations, because how you react to change matters. Now, one aspect of this is how you might adjust whilst you're actually having this experience. And it might be just a case of asking clients to wait for an hour for another service. But perhaps more importantly, it's about setting proper expectations. And these are normally set in advance. It's about having knowledge of the companies that are providing these services. So if you have a feeling that a company services are going to suffer in extreme weather conditions, then you can think about alternatives, about how journeys can be adjusted before they're actually needed. Because in the event of clients getting in touch with you, what they want to be able to hear is a calm voice, right, at the other end of the phone. So adjusting and the ability to adjust is really important. So we've looked at adjusting. What do we mean by refining? Well, it's the smaller aspects. And when I went to a regional airport, also in the southwest of England, it has a reasonable turnover of passengers, around 10 million per year. It has 12 airlines serving the airport, but it has one airline in particular, which is the dominant one. And when I showed up at this airport with its single light and airy terminal, there was already tension in the air. I could hear luggage trolleys being bumped into other luggage trolleys. Voices were being raised. And I was going, oh my goodness. By the time these poor people get to the front of the queue, they're going to need a second trip to get over the first trip they've not even gone on yet. So how might they have done this differently? Well, they could have showed up a little bit earlier when the queues were perhaps shorter, or perhaps this airline offers online check-in so that the only thing they had to do at the airport was to drop their luggage off at a separate queue. But if you know anything about low-cost airlines, you'll know that you're lucky to get a seat, right? So this situation, it's about having advanced knowledge. You know, this is why it's important to have some knowledge about your clients and their needs. So if you know that they're not great at queuing, it's worth considering whether it would have been worth sending them for another hour or two journey to an alternative airport that does have airlines, that does offer facilities they would take advantage of. So, you know, there is a saying that, you know, change is inevitable, but how we react to change is optional. And I kind of had an experience of this when I visited a city called Letchworth. It's about an hour, Letchworth Garden City. It's about an hour north of London. And on my return journey, I was expecting there to be delays, you know, delays at Letchworth. There'd probably be delays trying to cross London, and there'd probably be delays waiting for my service back to the West Country. But what actually happened wasn't what I was prepared for. I arrived at Letchworth and my train was waiting for me. I got on it. It left. When I arrived at a place called Farringdon, the doors opened exactly opposite the Elizabeth line escalators. I went down and the Elizabeth line train was waiting. I got on that. It left. And where the trains arrive at Paddington, they have a massive box lighted area. The escalators come out. But where they come out is adjacent to platform 1. My next train was waiting there. I got on that and that left. And it just kept going on like this. And it's the unusual that you remember about journeys, because it's pretty rare for it to happen. You know, change is inevitable, and having knowledge of your client's needs, therefore, is very much to your advantage. So I hope that makes sense. Please put a C in the chat if it does. Now, clearly, we'd all like to be in front of our ideal clients. So what do we mean by showing off? Well, it means showing your prospective clients how good you are. But how good do you need to be? Well, you only need to show them enough about you, to show that you are effective in your knowledge about your specific area of expertise. Because what they want to know, or what they want to have, is the confidence that you know everything you need to know about the area of travel that you specialize in. And how much confidence they need is probably they only need to know enough. And it kind of busts the myth that you need to be, an expert in all things, because again, it's another of these psychological things. If you can demonstrate, or by demonstrating that you are good in one particular area, oftentimes prospective clients will be convinced that you'll be good in other areas. So, it's a much more efficient, use of your time to specialize. Another area which is important is technology. Now, we're all familiar with companies like Amazon and Apple, and of course they're well known because they're known to be quick and responsive, and they use mobile devices. And the same influence happens, depending on which technology you use in the travel space, because it's one of those elements. The longer you keep people on your platform, increases the likelihood that they will do business with you. And it's also about moments. The more moments you keep people on your technology platform, the better. So if you were promoting champagne, for instance, you'd probably show lots of pictures, maybe even videos of people enjoying drinking champagne. So by the time it's their turn to have their first glass, they've already counted up all the bubbles. Not that I'm saying I like champagne. So let's summarize this particular section by just saying again about the importance of visibility and how influential visibility can be. Also, focusing on what matters. Certainly, simplifying messaging is important. And clearly, we want to be where your ideal clients are. Focusing on travel niche, certainly, and offering clients a great experience and a great technical experience. So how might that journey be for you? Well, the thing to remember is there's always been travelers. And ever since the smaller version of myself visited this airport many years ago, this location, sadly it no longer exists, was called the Queen's Building. And the area down below had a tuck shop, very useful, but it also had a lot of speakers, and they were blaring out the conversations between the pilots and the air traffic controllers. And this position had a complete 360 view of the entire airfield, and it was non-stop excitement. And it makes you want to travel. And the thing about travel is that once you do start traveling, it forces you to make decisions about places you like and dislike, where you're going to go next. And travel, in essence, never really ends. There may be physical beginnings and endings, but it's how it makes you think. Now, once upon a time, airport departure gates used to look like this, and this was in Dubrovnik in the former Yugoslavia. You used to be able to just walk off the street right up to the edge of the tarmac, and when it was time to depart, someone would walk down the steps, check your ticket, and you'd be allowed to walk to the aircraft. This particular jet had a built-in stairs in the rear, and if there was a bit of a queue to get on, by the time you got on the steps, it could be rather a bouncy experience. So you really wanted to get on. Now, the sharp-eyed amongst you may have noticed a bicycle. Now, it's actually fire retardant equipment. It always amuses me looking at it because I'd love to have seen the advert for this, only fit people need apply. Well, anyway, hopefully the fire department at Dubrovnik is much improved since the 1970s. And the thing about travel is as unique as we are. And we have a habit, don't we, of replaying our journeys. My grandfather, he was in the Navy and he was a submariner. And sadly, I never got to know him as an adult. But often he would chuckle at the end of the boat. And I often wondered what he was thinking about. But of course, we don't only replay journeys we've been on, we also play the journeys we intend to go on. You know, our minds are incredibly powerful things. Journeys do things to us, don't they? And the thing that we've been talking about today is that, you know, we're way more in control of our journeys and destinations than we think. You know, there may be physical beginnings and endings, but how we think about them in advance, how we adjust and refine journeys really makes a massive difference. Now, the point of today is not to make you like me, is to tell you the truth, and I hope that's okay, because a lot of people frankly, are wasting a lot of their time because they're doing a lot of things and not getting the results they want. And it's tragic to work hard and not get the results you want. It really is. And the thing that I get told about that they need the most is a proper roadmap. Now, in my experience, there are two kinds of students. The first kind is the experienced individuals who basically just need, you know, they need a sense of direction and a compass. And there are inexperienced people who need everything. But the reality is we're all somewhere in between. And it's about not missing things out on the journey. Now, on my diagram, I emphasize the importance of outcomes because you'll not be surprised to know it's the first thing I always discuss with people, because without an outcome, it's very difficult to achieve your objectives. And how we look at outcomes is important because it's about filling the gaps in knowledge, you know, not going for trip-only customers, only using a few tools, assuming technology is going to do everything, not understanding, you know, the parts of the travel business you need to know about, trying to be the master of everything. One area I find that needs particular attention is being able to identify things that work and don't. You know, measuring, you know, the importance of measuring is really important because how do you know if you're succeeding or not? And we do this by having lots of tasks relative to lots of different sections of the academy. We also have a community. And the point of a community is not just to extract information from other people, it's also to gain perspectives. Even if you meet someone in a similar travel space as yourself, because they have a different perspective to you, they will attract different clients. And that's really the point, is because we are so unique, it is our perspective and our uniqueness that plays a very strong role in attracting clients. Over time, therefore, you'll be able to obtain and contribute to knowledge in a community. Now, one of the things that you'll no doubt want to do is to either have additional people help you or to expand your business. And the traditional way of doing this is either to have freelancers or to go and hire staff. Now, another way to look at this is perhaps to plug into a team of specialists. And the kind of scenarios I'm thinking is well, we all have to sleep sometime and to eat and to look after our clients, because clients may be the other side of the world, right? So having a team of specialists that could take off some of the load might be useful to you. So something to consider. So what might your journey look like? Well, it's about being shown how to do it properly, and it's about either starting or commencing your journey the first day you join. It is learning and applying knowledge as you go. It really is turning strangers into best friends. And if you're willing to follow steps, you can earn good money in 6 to 9 months. But we need to build your process. And that means working on relationships. It is using all the tools you need. It's bringing out your uniqueness, the human touch we all contain, and using that to provide great experiences. Yes, it involves crafting solutions the customers are looking for, but also using manageable strategies. And when you add up all these things, you end up with the ability to craft journeys, to adapt to situations, to prepare for anything, to be a very responsive individual, but above all, to deliver the value your clients are looking for. Now, you don't need to be the master of all to get consistent clients. You just need a process, right? And a plan, because I know how passionate you are, and you deserve to get good results, which is why I put together an opportunity. So if you'd like me to personally help you generate consistent results, this is an online application process. And what it involves is a roadmap, which will utilize the power of listening, improve your visibility, get you to focus on the area that means the most to you, bring out your uniqueness, and make sure we get you in front of your ideal clients. And this is done by using a roadmap, focusing on outcomes, following series of steps. It's about giving and receiving feedback in a lot of areas. It's about fully taking part in a community. And it's about the option of plugging into a team of specialists later. So what do we include in this package? Well, it's 12 months access. It's all the feedback you need. It's all the resources you need. It's accountability, because everybody needs a little bit of push and encouragement. It's weekly calls with myself. It's access to a community, and the option of plugging into a team of specialists down the road. And it's all for a monthly subscription. And to take advantage of it and to see if working with you would be a good fit for you, there are 10 calls open today. And all you need to do is to follow the web URL or hover your phone over the QR code, and we can discuss this. So just to repeat again what's in the Academy. So it lasts for 12 months. It's all the feedback you need. It's resources. It's an accountability. It's weekly calls. It's access to a community, and the option of plugging into specialists down the road. Now, because I know how important it is to establish outcomes, for the first 5 people that actually join the Academy, I'm going to be offering special clarity calls. It's such an important area, this, and so this is why I offer it. So if you like the sound of that, then please do book a call, and we can discuss one of these things. So we're almost at the end, and I just wanted to highlight one particular thing. The reason we restrict access to this academy is because it's known as a done with you academy. And what this means is we're on your side because we want you to succeed and to be a cheerleader for you, because spending regular time with you, is an important element of this. So if you choose to book a call with us, it'd be great to discover your journey so far and whether working with you will be a good fit for you. So thank you very much for staying with us. I'd like to now ask if you have any questions. So I will stop sharing the screen and check whether you've added any questions to the Q&A. So there aren't any questions at the moment, so please do put some in if you have any. I want to express my thanks and appreciation for you spending time with us today. And yes, I am happy to stay on and take any questions you have. Otherwise, yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. And yeah, I wish you the very success in your endeavors. Okay. Thank you very much. And yes, thank you, Joan. You're welcome. You're most welcome. Alrighty. Thank you very much. And if you do think of any questions, please drop me a line at alex@sevenfiguretraveler.com. I'll be happy to take questions. And of course, if you want to have a chat, please do so. All right. See you again soon. Bye-bye.